In this video, we'll be taking a look at the machine configuration management system within Vectric Spark. If you're a new user, this is a great place to start because it allows you to set up a custom machine profile and associate verified post-processors with this so that you can ensure streamlined output and compatibility with your machine. So before we get into the details of how this system works and add in your custom machine configuration, we'll just take a quick overview of the different places that you can access the machine configuration form. So first off, if we head over to the menu bar to machining setup, the first option is machine configuration. If we select this opens up into the machine configuration management form. We've just closed out of this for now and head over to the tool database button. We can also access the same form by clicking the control menu here next to the machine dropdown. Lastly, we can access the machine configuration form through the Save Toolpaths form on the right-hand side. So if we click on the Save Toolpaths tab, the first thing that you'll notice when starting the software is you receive a warning that you have no associated post-processors. So as the software first loads with a couple of generic example machine configurations, you're told that the desktop default option does not include any post-processors, explains what that does, and then asks you whether you'd like to configure your machine. At this point, it's recommended to take a bit of time to set this up, follow this tutorial, and it just ensures that the process is streamlined to get your first project cut on your machine. So there are a couple of options here. We can either use the later button to dismiss this and set it up later. We can use the configure button, which will open back up into the machine config form, or we can use the search online option. So first of all, if we use the search online option to show what this does, we'll see that the software is searching for and downloading the latest post-processor database. We're then asked to confirm whether we'd like to update the post-processor list to make sure that we've got the latest post and machine configurations available to us. So we'll click yes, and this opens straight up into the search for machine online option. So you'll see in the form, we've got the manufacturer, the model series, and the model name. So for now, I'll just demonstrate adding another generic machine just to explain how this process works. So we'll select generic in the manufacturer. And then click on the series and we'll go for the desktop. The model here is just placeholder with the dimensions and we want to select the default. And we'll click download and confirm that to install the first machine configuration. So because we pulled this down from the server, this already includes some associated post-processors. And this is the case with the other machines within the database. For those manufacturers and models that we include within the list, they will include a verified post-processor, which has already been tested and confirmed to be compatible with the default configuration of these machines. Please note, if you've made custom changes to the controller setup, we can't guarantee compatibility upfront and post-processor changes may be required. So if we just take a quick look over the form here, we've got the name and manufacturer of the machine, the model and the controller type that these machines use. Then we've got the units, the acceleration settings, which are typically obtained from the machine manufacturer or supplier themselves, if not included in the installed machine configuration. Then underneath, we've got the associated post-processors. These will then be selectable within the Save Toolpaths form. Post-processors are small files which convert the X, Y, and Z moves within the path in the software into a format that your machine controller can understand. And they also add in any custom commands which may be required by the controller. Because of this, compatibility with output created in Vectric Spark is dependent on the controller type your machine uses and the post-processor you're saving out with being appropriate for this. For more information on how to save out toolpaths from Vectric Spark, I'd recommend watching our Saving Toolpaths guide, which is available in the related video section underneath this video and also on the support section of the website under tutorial videos. So now that we've taken a look at what this system can do for us within Vectric Spark and how we can find it within various places in the software, let's start with adding a new custom machine. So we can do that by clicking the plus button in the top right hand corner of the form here. And this will open a blank form where we can populate our custom machine settings. So I'm going to call the new machine shop machine because it's in my shop. Manufacturer is custom, model custom, controller generic G-code. Units I'm going to use inches, and this is going to be the 12 by 24. The acceleration settings I'm going to leave alone for now, because in this example I haven't yet obtained this information from the manufacturer, but we'll explain this in just a second. Now, at the bottom of the form, you'll see associated post-processors, and currently there are none associated with this because we've just started setting up the custom machine. This means that if we click apply at this stage and then click done, you'll see that we're presented with a prompt telling us that there are no associated processors. Would we like to do this now? And it really is recommended that you set this up as early as you can when you start to use the software, because it just streamlines the whole process. You can be sure that the output is going to run correctly on your machine. It enables you to reopen to the last used post processor, so you don't have to search for your one custom post out of a full list that we hold on the server. So really great idea to get this set up now. So we'll do that by clicking the plus button to the bottom left of the associated post-processor section. So when you do this, you'll be presented with the full post-processor database list. And you can see that this is pretty extensive. It's in alphabetical order. So in my case, I'm using a G-code controller as just placeholder for generic. Okay, so I can see that I've got a few variations of the G-code post. Spark doesn't actually support automatic tool changing, so I don't need that variant for any tool changing purposes, though you may find if you use a custom post or a variant provided by the machine manufacturer that just happens to include ATC in the name, those will still be listed, just in case you need that. But for now, I'm going to go for the G-code inch, and we can click download, and that will grab that post processor from the server, and you'll see that it's now included as an associated post processor to your custom machine configuration. To the right of the name, you'll see version. So we've got latest v2 here. So this just means when a new version of the post processor is released, when changes are made to the post that we hold on the server, we iterate this and there's versions. So you can see we've got version 1 and version 2 in this case. So for whatever reason, if your controller requires that you use a previous version of the post processor that we hold, then you can choose to switch to an earlier version. Please bear in mind though, that if you do this, when subsequent new versions of the post processor are released, you will remain on version 1 unless you actively select the latest. If you leave it at the latest, then it will always be the latest version that we upload to the database. You'll also notice that the software notifies you that it's not the latest with this caution symbol to the left. One other thing to note from the post-processor management form are these two buttons to the right-hand side. So this one with the folder icon allows you to search for, through a file directory, any custom posts that you may have obtained from the machine manufacturer, and that allows you to then select a .pp post-processor file, which you can then install into the software and select. And the next button is just to update the post-processor database. So because I've already been through this process when I opened up into the machine configuration form, I don't need to do that in this case. So for now, I can just close out of the list, having set up my custom machine configuration, and we'll take a look at the next option in the machine configuration management form. Let's imagine I've added the inch version of the G-code post, and I remember that my controller actually expects millimeters. We can remove a post processor that we've associated to remove the association and delete the post by using the minus button next to the add button. So it's plus to add, negative to remove. So now we've deleted it, we can go back in to add and scroll down to G and instead select our millimeter post. So this is another thing to be aware of with the units that the post processor is outputting. You can use whichever you're most comfortable with you working within the software to design your vectors and apply the toolpath in. When you come to save it out, if you use the post processor that's written for the units that your machine controller is expecting, everything will be converted for you. So if you're more comfortable working in inches within the software, but your machine's set up to expect millimeters, That's not a problem. You don't have to think about that. It's all converted at the point of saving. If we click the plus button again, just to go back into the post processor management list, you'll see that to the left of the post processor names, there's actually a configure icon. So if we click that for our millimeter post, if we right click on the post processor names, we get a context menu, and you'll see that we've got changelog, customize, and view. So we'll take a look at view first of all, and you'll see that this just opens up the post processor so that you can see the internals of the post processor file. This is brilliant if you just want to view it, understand what it does, and check out the commands that are contained within it. Changelog, on the other hand, gives you a summary of the changes that have been made. So I mentioned with the versioning of the post processors, every time a new one is uploaded to the post processor database, a reason for that change will be noted, and you can view that within the changelog. So it's a really handy way of making sure that you're using the most appropriate version for your machine. Okay, so that's what the changelog and view do. So if we just have a look at the third option within there, which is customize, and we'll use our Gerbil mill post. If we click that, you'll see that it goes to the very top of the list and it's got a different icon next to it. So this is indicating that this is now a custom post, and we can look to do a few things with this. So if we again right click to open the context menu, you can see we've got open file location. So if we click that, you'll see it's opened into the application data folder for Vectric Spark, and in the my_post_p folder specifically within there. So this is where all of the custom added post processors that you install into the software or customized this way will end up. So from there, we can look to open that up with any standard text editor, Notepad++ recommended. This then allows you to not only view, but make custom changes to your post processor. So if you've got any requirements for your custom controller configuration and you know what these are, what the requirements are, then you can look to add those in yourself. So I don't need to do that now for the Gerbil post, and because of that we don't need a custom version of it, so we can also delete it using that right hand context menu. It'll come up with a message saying delete custom post processor, warning you that it can't be undone. So good tip with any custom posts, just retain a safe copy of it. If it's been sent over by the machine manufacturer, then it may take a while to get a replacement. So definitely keep track of those. We don't interfere or update them in any way. So it's advised to just keep a copy back also to upload to any new versions of the software for new installations if you need to do that. Remember as well that with these custom posts, when you choose to customize one of the posts included in the database, a copy is made and placed into my_post_p. So any changes that you make to the custom post that's indicated at the top of the list won't be made to the post of the same name that's included in the database list. Okay, so now we can close out the post selection list and we can take a look at our setup machine configuration. So we're almost ready to go here, but I did say that we'd cover the acceleration settings. Now, these are related to the specifications of the machine, and it's technical information that's available only from the machine supplier or manufacturer. So this does have a bearing on the estimated machining times within the software, for which we do have a separate tutorial video. So this is available under the support section of the website, and if you take a look through that, it will explain what each of these parameters does and how this affects the machining times that are estimated within the software. So I highly recommend checking that out. For now, we're not going to cover these because I don't have any of this information for this machine. And now we'll just move on down to look at a couple of right-click options for the associated post processor. So if we have a look at that. So the first one is make default. If we click this, it doesn't look like much has changed immediately, but this actually means that if you've got more than one post processor associated with a machine, it will default to that one that you've just made the default in the list when you enter the Save Toolpaths form. So instead of having to search through and select each time, if you've got multiple posts in there, it will always default to that one. The next option is make default for laser. So if you're using a post processor which has laser tool commands to use with the laser picture and cut and fill toolpaths within Vectric Spark, then you can select this and it will make that the default specifically for when you go to save out toolpathing for laser strategies. And then we've just got the same three options as we had for the main post list. And this is the changelog, the view the internals of the post processor, and remove will just carry out the same action as the minus button and remove the association and delete the post processor from the list. But for now, with all that covered, I think I'm fairly happy with my custom machine configuration that I've just set up. So we can head over to the apply button and click that, and that will then be saved away so that we can access it alongside the existing generic desktop and large machine configurations. So I can come back and select this from the list and also from the Save Toolpaths form. So we can close out the form for now. And you can see that even if it's not included as a verified machine configuration that ships with the software, if you've got a custom machine, you can very easily just set up that machine configuration and associate the correct post processor for your controller. So now we can head over to the tool database that I covered at the beginning of the video. So when we first enter into the tool database form, you'll see in the top left-hand corner our machine and material drop-down boxes. So you'll see that our newly created shop machine configuration has already been created and it's selectable from the list alongside the generic desktop and large machines. Underneath this, there's just some pre-installed commonly used materials, but you can create your own, so you can save separate settings for different materials for individual tools. For more information on doing this, please watch our tool database guide tutorial, which is available under the related videos to this one. Similarly, if we head over to the Save Toolpaths form again, you'll see that under the machine drop-down, our shop machine is there already selectable, and our default verified post processor, the GCode millimeter post, is available as the first selection. So this means if you've got multiple verified posts, the one that you select as the default using the right-click context menu will be the one that first shows up. So that's just a really powerful tool to streamline the process in the software. With that, let's imagine a situation where you're running this software on a machine in a shop, for instance, that doesn't have any internet access. Well, this system also caters for that. And to do this, you can download a .vpkg offline machine configuration package from your V&Co portal account. So under the My Software section, after you log in, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a post processor section. And after clicking the download button, this will open into a form which is pretty much the same as the Search for Machine Online form that you see within Vectric Spark. So you can select your machine manufacturer and model, and this will download the offline file, the .vpkg file, that you can then place on a removable drive, transfer to the offline machine, and go from there. Once you're in the software on your offline machine, then we can install this package by going to Machining Setup, back into the machine configuration form, and using the button next to the Add New Machine from Scratch, which is to search through files for the machine. So we'll click on this, and we'll select our machine.vpkg file, click open, and we'll see that's now been added into the software alongside the other machines. This includes the associated post processors with this package, and crucially, if we just click the expand to go into the Toolpaths pane and our tool database, this also includes some preset default tools. Another way that you can install these offline packages is to just drag and drop the VPKG file into the software. It'll prompt you that it is looking to install the package, so you just click yes, and it'll tell you that the machine configuration has successfully installed. So there's two methods for achieving the same thing. And with that, that covers our machine configuration management guide within Vectric Spark. So I hope you found this video useful, and thank you very much for watching.